Hello, this is video chapter 13, section 4. I'm Mrs. Erling, and I'm here today with Mr. Knox and Mrs. Kim. This section is on machines and the body. You should have your textbook open to page 532. This section is from 532 to 539. At any point in the video, stop, pause, rewind, whatever you need to do to get all of your notes. This is a reminder that on Thursday, November 20th, you have your Chapter 13 test. So start thinking about that and make sure you study. Your body acts like a machine. Machines make it easier to do work, so you push or pull on objects, exerting force. So when you, for example, open a door, the sign says push or pull. When you move that door, you are exerting a force on that door. And force is expressed in newtons, and we abbreviate it N for short. You do work when you exert force on an object and cause it to move some distance. We can calculate work with the equation below. Work equals force times distance. So the amount of force that you exert on an object will move it a certain distance, and together that is work. We're not going to go into more detail for that now because that's more of a physics concept, which is saved for 8th grade.
Okay, as you know, machines are devices that allow you to make work easier. And a lever is a type of machine that helps us move heavy things. It's a rigid rod that rotates around a fixed point. That fixed point is called the fulcrum. And it allows us to do work, lift heavy things. And effort force is the force that you put on it, and the load is what you lift. Now, does this remind you of anything that you are familiar with? Maybe when you were a little kid? Yes, a seesaw. Now, lever does make work easier. For example, this little child is lifting up an adult, and she would not be able to have done that unless she didn't use this lever. This man is lifting a big boulder using a lever, and this man is carrying a lot of, looks like, sand, using a lever. And depending on where the fulcrum is located and how long the lever is, you would even be able to lift a big piano or a car by yourself.
Okay, if you guys would pause the video, turn to page 503 in your textbook, and then pause your video. All right, on page 503, it talks about the big idea. And this slide is the whole, the answer to the big idea. The big idea, if you guys read it on page 503, says, how do the physical principles of forces and machines relate to the functions of your muscles and skeleton? Well, that's awful complicated. Basically, what the big idea says is, how are your muscles and bones like machines? Well, you've heard Miss Kim talk about levers, and a lever is a rigid rod. Now, bones, as you guys know, bones are rigid too, and they're rigid means stiff, and they're kind of in a straight line. So we have some joints and some bones here in the body. We have bones of the foot, we have bones of the neck and skull, we have bones of the arm and forearm here. And these bones act like levers, and the joints in them act like the fulcrum. It's the muscle that provides the effort or the force. And whatever you're trying to lift, whether it's a dumbbell or a barbell, that is the load. If it's the weight of your head, that's the load. Or if it's the weight of your body, that's the load. So we have some machines of the body here. This happens to be an example of a first class lever. Okay, this in your foot, you got the fulcrum right here at the ball, what's called the ball of your foot. This is a second class lever, an example of a second class lever. And a third class lever is this right here, your arm. Whenever you guys lift heavy objects, you usually use your hand to lift them. And this is the load. You got the fulcrum right here, and the effort is right there. This is where the tendon, muscle attached to the tendon in your bone. So you have machines of the body, and these are examples. First class lever, second class lever, and third class lever. The joints act as the fulcrum, the bones act as the lever, and your muscles provide the force. So, to answer your question, the big idea, how is your body like a machine? Well, your body is like a machine in that you guys have different levers in your body. Thank you so much for listening.